Good morning, everybody. We promised to be live on Facebook this morning, and due to some technical difficulties on the Zoom platform, you're just going to get me rather than the entire team. So just going to let a few people get on here and take a little bit of time and make sure that everything's working and everybody can see me. I see that we've got a few joining. We fully intended to go live with our entire team this morning, and the Zoom platform is so overwhelmed. It's something that we've used for a long time, but a lot of people have adopted that here just over the last month or so because of this coronavirus, and now it doesn't work quite as smoothly as it used to. I look forward to getting back and we can be a little bit normal about some of those things. So today we had a topic. Our team was ready to talk about it, and everybody else is going to be in the comments section, and I'm going to be on here. I'm going to be the guy doing the talking. We're going to talk about the differences between live auctions and online auctions. And I see Kristen Lau and Stephanie Lee, two of my assistants, have joined here, and I know that Rachel, another one of our assistants, Tom, one of our auctioneers, is going to be joining. I see Andrea Ondrashek, one of our agents over in Northeast Iowa, is joining us here. So it's nice to see you. Even Russ McCall, it's nice to see you on here, Russ. Russ and I live fairly close together. Him and his boy Brett are auctioneers here in Monona County over in western Iowa, and just a super good auction family over this way. So it's nice to have friendly competitors, and I've always considered them to be that. With that, let's talk about the difference between live auctions and online auctions. In today's world, online auctions have been just kind of thrust to the very front of what's happening in the world. The government and the regulatory authorities are not allowing us to join or have groups of larger than 10. And everybody knows it's pretty difficult to have a live auction without a crowd of more than 10 people. There'd be 10 people just on the staff alone going to take up your 10. Then you can't have anybody. So we had started into the online auction business a long time ago. I did my first online land auction in 2009, before its time, before it really was ready, and before people were ready for it. Now, over the last few years, we've made a really concerted effort to push that product and make sure that it's ready, that it's been tested, that we know how to do it correctly. And that has made a difference in people's lives. It's certainly made a difference in results of how things come out. We've learned a lot of things along the way about online auctions and online land auctions. And our communications director had prepared some questions today. So I'm going to be looking away just a little bit because I have those notes on my computer screen here that we would typically use. And I'm going to go through those notes and make sure that I hit the points that she wanted us to. One of the original questions was, can you explain what a typical Dream Dirt auction looks like? Now, I'm not sure there's a typical Dream Dirt auction because every auction's just a little bit different, but, I guess in a sense, too, they're all exactly the same in the sense that they're an auction. So a live auction would look like this. A live auction is where a group of people gather and they compete for assets. We do live auctions for machinery. We do it for personal property. We do it for land and real estate assets and all of those things. And what would typically happen with a live auction is we would set a time where people are going to gather for those assets after having advertised those things. People would arrive. They would register to bid, typically with one of the clerks. They would get a bidder number, and then they would wait until the asset that they're interested in bidding on would be called to the block. Sometimes that's just one item. If we're selling a farm, for instance, we're selling just one item. There's just one lot in that particular auction. But if we're selling out a farm, there's a farm retirement or liquidation of some sort, there's going to be lots of individual items that are going to be sold on that particular auction. So people would wait around. Oftentimes our live auctions for farmland or real estate properties are held in some type of a public venue, some type of a ballroom or a community meeting center. We've done them in fire halls. We've done them in libraries, community centers. We've done them in church basements. We've done live farmland auctions all over the place. Live machinery auctions, there's two types of those. We do consignment auctions where many sellers join together and bring all of their items to one particular location. And then all of the bidders would also come to that location. But an on-farm sale for one seller where you don't have multi-sellers is oftentimes going to be held right on their farm or their business location, whatever it might be. That really is the typical live auction scenario. Immediately following all of the bidding, people would pay for their items and they would take them home and ownership would transfer. Sometimes there's titled vehicles where ownership may transfer after a period of time lapses so that we ensure that payment was good prior to transferring titles and stuff like that. That's a part of our job in keeping sellers safe and making sure that we're not putting ourselves or the seller at any sort of disadvantage or liability. The next question was going to be for Nicole. As a company, we're a leader in the online auction space. Can you tell us why Dream Dirt decided to build their own online auction platform? And that question would have been directed towards my wife, Nicole, for a particular reason. She really was the driving force behind that. Nicole worked in the software world prior to us beginning to start a auctioneering business. And she worked in the software support, so she helped develop and support software products. When we moved into the auction business, I had started in real estate, but then I moved more towards the auction business because I found it to be a more efficient way to sell, and I found it to be more effective to sellers to sell by auction than it really was by private treaty. And so I really enjoyed auctioneering, the process of talking fast and interacting with the crowd and, performing in that way that helped the seller achieve what they wanted to achieve and doing a good job for them. But her thought was more moving towards technology. And so she began to bring these technology things up, saying, did you know that we could do this? Did you know that this is possible? Did you know with software we could do this? And that really kind of became the foundation of beginning to develop our own online bidding platform and software. And in the beginning, we used third-party software. We worked with an initial developer that ended up they went bankrupt, and so we had to kind of start over. We started with another platform, and then we started to use some third-party providers, which there's many third-party providers out there that are providing software for auctioneers, but they're generic platforms that really are not tailored to the farm world. So in 2016, we had the thought, this third-party platform stuff doesn't really work for us. What we sell, in the farm world especially, it's very specific. And there's specific information that needs to be included, and there's also specific types of interactions that we want to create in our buyer and seller journey. And it was at that point where we said, we really have to develop something that is very specific to farmland auctions and farm auctions. And the process started at that point with an idea, meetings, talking to each other with our team and figuring out, exactly what is it that we want to do and how would we do it and what do those things look like. So we moved on and we built this platform and we launched it in 2018. Was really, it finally came from the developer. It was finished after all of the testing and everything that we had gone through in September of 2018. At the same time, we hired Rachel Hoyes, who is also our farm bid coordinator. She runs the software today for the most part. She would be the main person that's running the software, setting up the auctions and getting all of those things going. Whereas Nicole has moved on more towards a new program that we've started, which is going to be our Dream Dirt affiliate auctioneers. We are actually now allowing our competitors and other auctioneers in the world to use the software that we developed and to advertise through our marketplace. In today's world, there's a lot of auctioneers that are racing trying to get online, and that's a solution that they can use. And so my wife, Nicole, now is more heading up the affiliates program, where auctioneers, they keep their own business. Even real estate brokers that want to offer auctions can use this tool and use our expertise in marketing support and technology support to use those things. So we're kind of taking that software now a step farther towards an affiliates program. And we have several affiliates now that we work with in South Dakota and Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma. So we have different people that we're already working with. We've kind of tested that program out over the last year and made sure we could support it, what was important to them, the types of services that they could use. So that's how our online platform really got going, and that's where it's growing to at this point. And it's been really, really good. I know, buyers and sellers that have been through our online land auctions have come away from those things really amazed at it. I remember I sold a farm for a lady in Calhoun County. And originally, she didn't really think the idea of an online land auction was all that cool because people more think of eBay. They don't really imagine that an online land auction is just like a live auction, only with other benefits. So, in other words, there's no difference between a live auction and an online land auction. We do the same exact advertising. We do the exact same outreach. We do the same types of things. It's not just people go online and bid and we'll see what happens in the end. You know, we're calling those people. Any of you guys that have ever been a bidder on our online land auctions, you know that we don't give up on you very easily. We're calling you on the telephone. We're just not in the same room, but the same process is happening. But I think there's a magical part of the online land auction that is just an amazing thing. Something that we didn't anticipate. I'd love to say that we knew this was going to happen and we were so smart that we understand this is going to happen, but we really didn't. What we found is that by removing the social frictions from the online or from the land buying process, from the land auction process where people are in person, eyeball to eyeball, by removing that friction, we get better results. Land auctions just plain sell better that way because so many people don't have to come into a room and look their neighbors or their friends in the eye. Everybody gets to bid to their maximum ability. And you might think, well, buyers probably don't like that because they spend more money. It's not. They bought an asset that they really wanted to. I've seen too many people come out of land auctions saying, well, I should have gone one more time just to see what he would do. Buyers and sellers come into this process, and it has to be fair for both of them. And the online process really has made it fair for both of them. Too many people leave a live land auction feeling somewhat dejected because they had to yield to somebody else. They kind of feel like really wasn't fair because, you know, for whatever reason, you know, they go to church with these people or their kids go to school together or they're on the same football team or they're on the Cattlemen's Association together, and for one reason or another, they decided to yield. That doesn't happen in online land auctions. And like I said, I wish we could have said ahead of time we knew that was a benefit. It's just something we discovered. It's one of the things we figured out, like, hey, this is really working well for some reason, and we really figured it out. So, had we been all with our team today, we would have asked Rachel, for those watching and haven't seen one of our online auctions, can you describe the process and how the assets get built online and how the auctions work? And we would have asked Rachel that because she does those things. She's the one that builds those online auctions and manages those things online. It's not that they aren't looked at by a auctioneer. They are. Tom and I are continually watching these things, seeing who's registering to bid on them, and we're making contact with those people and vetting them. First of all, making sure they're an actual live bidder. And one thing I should mention too is that we verify people's identity when they bid on these things through the use of a credit card and a process that we have that vets all of the people coming into the system to make sure that they're a good bidder. We also call and interview them on the telephone and make sure that they have good intentions. And I think up to this point, I know Tom is in the comments section here. I think that at this point, we've only ever had to boot one person out of an online land auction. And it happened the day the auction was ending. And I kind of forget the details, but it was kind of a family feud type deal where a family member decided to come in and start outbidding other people, but was doing it without the intention of actually closing on the thing. We were able to shut him down immediately. We discovered it around 7 a.m. and he was out of the auction by 7:18 a.m. Happened really fast. He was gone, and the auction went off without a hitch. We watch them that closely. So in terms of getting the assets built online, we're using all of our media and everything that we have for any type of listing. It's the photos and the videos. We make a video for every farm, and that's kind of the centerpiece of our marketing campaign. We use that in digital ads. We use it on the website. We use it in emails that are going out. And that becomes the centerpiece. It's essentially the equivalent of a digital sale bill. Back in the old days for auctions, they had the flyers they would go hang in public locations. We still do that. It's an important part of auction advertising. But in the digital world, we're using a video. So all of those assets are put together on what we call a bidding level page or an item level page. And that's the auction. That page becomes the auction. People can bid on that page. They can find all of the information on that page. They can contact us. They can ask questions from that page. That page becomes the auction itself. So Rachel would build all of those things, make sure all of the farm documents are there. They can download the 156. They can download the aerial, the soil maps, the full prospectus that they typically would have gotten at an online or on a live land auction, but the documents are right there in front of them. They can sit down at the computer, just within a few minutes of the auction, they can have all of the details and ready to go. Our online land auctions tend to last around 30 days. We're putting those things out there and people are allowed to bid for 30 days rather than 30 minutes. That's one difference between a live auction and a online auction is people only get to bid for 30 minutes in a live one. maybe 40 minutes on a long one, sometimes only 20 minutes. We're giving people 30 days to make decisions. So I think that's a huge benefit to the seller. Allow these people to make decisions and move that thing up slowly. Can you imagine being thrust into a situation where you're spending $1 million, $1.5 million? You go into a room, you have 20 seconds to make decisions. You've got chaos. You got an auctioneer talking fast. Maybe you don't fully understand what is going on. You have the social friction in the room where all of these people are looking at you. You wonder whether they're going to judge you, what they're going to say about you. You wonder what your wife's going to say. You wonder what the banker's going to say. And all of a sudden, a confused mind says no. As auctioneers, we know that. A confused mind says no. If you can make that bidding process last 30 days and you can slow that process down, you don't have the confused minds. Plus, you don't have the auctioneer that can't be understood. Some people just don't understand auctioneers. And I'm sorry to all of my auctioneer friends. I know that our skill as auctioneers is a very important one. But that doesn't mean everybody understands it as well as we do. I can go listen to almost any auctioneer and I know exactly what he's saying. I can go out and auctioneer and I know what I'm saying. But I also understand that people might have hearing issues. The older I get, the more I notice that I say what more and more to my wife, and I hope she's watching here. She talks about my selective deafness at times. But that's an important part of the online land auction, is that people now are looking at a number on the screen. They're not wondering, is he saying 3,000 or 8,000? I'm scared to raise my hand in case he is saying 8,000. I would bid 3, but I don't know if he's saying 8. I don't know. And a confused mind is always going to slow down and say no. That is one of the biggest benefits of the online land auctions. You have that period stretched out. You have more time to ask questions. You have more time to bid. You have more time to think. Now, here's what I will say about an online land auction. They become most intense in the last 30 minutes. Typically like an online or like a live auction, they're going to have that intensity in the last few minutes where people are going to compete for the most part in that bit. But what we notice, if you go onto our online bidding platform at bid.dreamdirt.com, right now we have quite a few land auctions on there. We have a land auction. I think we have one ending today in Lee County, and I think we have another one tomorrow ending. I can't remember which one is ending tomorrow. Next week I think I've got one on April 22nd up in O'Brien County. If you go look at that, I know yesterday they were bid to $7,000 and $8,000 an acre. And the auction hasn't even begun yet. The bidding is allowed. But really, the intensity will come down in that last few minutes. So they're competing. They're thinking about it. They're waking up every day. You guys know how you talk yourselves into things a little bit at a time. If at one point 7,000 was too much and then it gets to 7,000, you have a few days to think on it. You're thinking, well, it's probably not. I'll try it one more time. That's what's really great, even for the buyers, because now they don't hold back. Now they don't regret their decisions. Now they have the full ability to completely consider it and walk away knowing that they made a good decision that was important to them. Okay? I think that is just a huge part of online land auctions. I think it's really, really important. Move on to the next question. Kristen would have asked me, what do you think makes online land auctions successful? I think I covered the vast majority of that. I think that removing that social friction has become so important. In our company, it's just a huge thing. We talk about it a lot. We talk about, the people that call us and say, that was a great process. I really loved bidding on that. To the other people that call and say, that's dangerous. I should not be bidding on farms on your online platform because that's just going to get us in trouble. And I just bid too much. I bid too far. I bid farther than I thought I was going to. I was having fun. I wasn't going to let them win, whatever it might have been. So with that, guys, I really appreciate you guys coming on here. And I see a lot of familiar names here popping on. I don't get to answer questions. I don't even see the questions coming up. So hopefully Kristen's been taking care of that for me. I apologize. The Zoom platform's not working today. For whatever reason, they're having technical difficulties. I really would have loved to be on here with our team and discuss these issues. We'll certainly be back next week. We've been doing this every Wednesday at 10 a.m. We really enjoy doing it. Sometimes we move pages. Some of our agents have pages, and we go do them on there. I've got my own auctioneer page, and so does Tom. And Nicole's got her own. You can look up Nicole Smith Farmland Land Auctions or Tom Bradley Auctioneer. Down in Southeast Iowa, we've got James and Shayna Sprinkle. I see James is on here watching this. They've got their own page down that way. So we're moving around from page to page. We try and get back to the Dream Dirt page every 3 to 4 weeks. But we really enjoy doing these things and visiting with you guys. I hope that I may have helped somebody understand something. If I haven't, you can always reach out to me. My cell phone is 515-537-6633. And if email is more convenient, my email is super easy to remember. Jason@dreamdirt.com. That's DREAMDIRT. Just send me an email. You can send me a text message on my cell phone as well, too. You can find me on Facebook. I'm kind of all over the place. So just look us up. We can ever help you. We'd be more than glad to. Even if it's just to answer some questions and we're never going to do business. Just give me a call anytime. Thank you all. I really enjoyed visiting.